All right, welcome down to the shop bay. I did a little bit of work down here. I got the shop kind of ready for a project, and this is going to be a new series where I kind of go through the basics of making stuff. And to do that, I got my buddy Will is here. He is going to be doing everything from the beginning to the end of making a prop for the first time. And so I'm going to kind of be teaching him the ropes and showing him some tricks, and just to basically show you guys that with just a little bit of money for material and stuff, and some free templates that I'll put out, you guys can make your own props and stuff pretty easy. So how do you feel about that, Lou?
Yeah, it's pretty cool. It's a really cool idea that we can kind of just make something, that you would cost probably hundreds of dollars to buy online, even if it was like a replica. You can make it really cheap in your home, and doesn't take that much.
Yeah. You want to tell them what we're making?
So, we talked to him, and I talked about it a lot, and I have a lot of different things that I enjoy, but we kind of fell in on Star Trek, and we talked. He recently did a Boba Fett diorama, Book of Boba Fett diorama,
yeah.
and we talked about doing a Star Trek one, but since I've never done, I've helped him on some builds here and there, like pointers and just kind of like ideas, but
he's the idea man.
But I've never actually glued it and cut it and did all this stuff, which we're going to do in this video. So we are going with a Klingon bat'leth from Star Trek.
Yeah.
I think it makes its first appearance in Star Trek The Next Generation, and that's what we're going to go with. And we're going to go, I think, specifically with Lieutenant Worf's, the security officer from that series, and just go step by step, like he said. And
yep. I think that's a good beginner project because it's curved and stuff, but the shape itself is pretty straightforward. It's a flat piece, and there's not a whole lot of crazy detail, but it kind of gives you the good sense of like how to use the glue, how to cut the pattern, cut the pattern, how to make the pattern, how to cut the foam, how to glue the foam, and how to sand the foam. And then we'll be going through the whole process of painting, plasti dipping, painting, and then finally we'll show you guys how we hang it on the wall. Yeah. But we will be doing like a diorama piece together eventually. But this is a good way just to dive in something simple and get your hands on the material and you have a pretty good idea how to do stuff moving forward.
Yeah, absolutely.
So yeah.
Plus we'll get to see the really cool technique that you do with a lot of your things of making metallic looks, because the Klingon bat'leth is metal, so you'll get like a trick of making it look metal.
And then the wrap on the handles is leather, and I'll be doing the same technique that I just did on the Cad Bane hat. So there we go. So it'll be fun. It's a good mixture of cool stuff to do that you're gonna experience a lot in different props. Leather, silver, it's everything. So I think it's a good mix, and it's a good first project. And so it'll be a 3-part series. And let's get started.
Let's do it.
Get started.
I protest. I am not a merry man.
All right, so Will, to get your blueprint, this is a trick that I always like doing.
Okay.
To get blueprints, what I do is I got the Roku on TV, and then so we're gonna do a bat'leth. So if you just go on Google and you find pictures of bat'leths, I like to find one that's like straight on.
Okay, yeah.
So like this. Now on my phone, I can go to the Smart View setting. Here, let me see that camera. But if you go to the Smart View setting, you can set it to Roku. And this is the living room. So it should be connecting my phone through the pair. There we go. So there's my phone. So from here, I could have done this to begin with so you guys could see what I'm doing on the screen. All right, so I like this picture because it's, like I said, because it's a straight on view. So the one option is if you can zoom in, which you kind of can. You can see how you get your, kind of how I do the sizing.
Okay.
What I like to do in a lot of cases, well, if I turn my phone sideways, it should fill the whole screen. That's much better. So,
Sure.
like, that seems a little too big, right?
Right. Yeah.
Because you were saying his, he can fit like a hand and a half in, right? So
Yeah.
even that seems like it's still a little bit too big because it's almost, you could fit two hands in there.
Right.
So I'll shrink it down again. Okay, there's one hand.
It's getting there. I think a tiny bit.
A little bit more.
Yeah.
The other thing you can do too, like you were saying, is you looked at the actual dimensions from the Star Trek creator, and you said it was 3 foot.
Yeah, 3 feet. And it was like 80.81. So whatever.
So almost 4 foot.
Almost 4 foot.
See if I have a tape measure handy.
And it kind of is. Pretty close.
Okay. So we'll just check here. So tip to tip.
Oh wow.
That's pretty small.
It's very small.
So that's like 2.5 feet.
Yeah.
So you're saying 3.8, which is basically,
I think it's supposed to be right there.
yeah,
Right? Could be
right.
somewhere.
So
in
3
there.
foot 8 inches.
I mean, I guess that's what you would say. Wow.
Yeah. So that's kind of crazy.
I mean, it's like essentially the width of your television.
I know.
Huh. Maybe.
It looks a lot bigger on the TV, I have found. That when I'm sizing stuff, I do it on the TV. And then I'll make a blueprint of it. And then I'll like put it on the bench and I'm like, this is huge. Or it's a lot smaller. Because you're up here and you're like, oh yeah, it's huge. And then you get down there and it's like,
Yeah, I see it. I follow you.
when I was making Dad's blueprint for his Sasquatch cutout,
Oh yeah.
it was like, I was tracing like his finger like this. And then when I got it cut out, it was like, it's only like this tall.
Oh.
So, oops. So what I'll do is
Yeah, try to get it with
that should be maybe just a little bit bigger because you can't really see where this ends up.
Right.
But it's probably right in here,
Right.
which is probably pretty close. I would say close enough. So if this carves to here, that's pretty close. I'm happy with that.
Yeah.
Right?
But at the same time, it also feels like it seems like our hands. It's going to be too small for our hands, or too big for our hands. But at the same time, it also seems
More like sized like weapon.
for a weapon, right?
Yeah.
Rather
And
than
by the time you get this cut out and bulked up, it's gonna be thick around your hands, you know.
Yeah.
And I think that would be, cause like see how you're, like if you were to grip the leather, it's
Right.
like a perfect handle for the leather.
Yeah.
And then like you said, if you have to like scrunch your hand.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, no matter what, I mean, it doesn't really matter. The official website said that's how
Yeah.
big it is, so it's like you can't. It's not.
I trust those guys.
It's not really workarounds. Yeah.
So now the easy thing to do with a shape like this, that's symmetrical on both sides, I will just do half of it. I'll just make a pattern of half of it. Because there's really no point of doing the whole pattern
Right.
when you can just do half the pattern and then just flip it.
Go here and there.
Yep. So what I do is I take paper. And you notice this is why I have tape on my TV.
Tape.
Yeah. So if you ever come to my house and you notice there's tape on the TV, you're like, what's up with the tape? That's why. So, I'll take this here. Yeah, so basically the TV becomes an old-fashioned light box.
Yeah.
Because, you know, you have a light box and you put your original template on it, and you put paper on it, and the light shows through the pattern, and you just trace your new pattern.
I was thinking too, it's like I think they do it like in like those industrial like animator people. Like
Yeah.
They have like
Yeah.
they'll do what you're doing just like
It's
on-
like the
on-
shadow
yeah.
underneath, and then we'll draw on top
Yeah.
of it. Yeah, so the thing that gets hard is if it's like this, where now you're using like a sheet here, and you gotta fill that in. Sometimes what I will do is I'll do like this, and it makes it way more
That's cool.
convoluted. But
Yeah, I mean, you gotta get.
it works. Is there any more tape on this?
There's some tape.
Perfect. That's my tape spot. I probably don't have any more. Handy dandy. Keep all that stuff in the basement usually. This isn't near too really too sticky in the room. Alright, so you want to trace it?
Sure.
I can kind of try to hold it for you.
Okay.
It doesn't have to be like super perfect because we'll fix it with a pen after.
Ooh, no, I went way too big.
It's because I let go.
I should have said I'm exceptionally good at drawing lines.
One of my strong points is pattern tracing. So this is, it's kind of hard to tell, but this, so like this is your line up here.
This?
Yeah. Because the paper gets kind of thick. So this is like
Oh, I
the
couldn't
cutting
see the white.
angle. Yeah. No, I guess
Let's see it now.
I do that all the time.
Okay, this.
Something like that. Yeah, right there. Let's see.
Kind of.
I can't tell, really. I think this comes in a little bit more here.
Okay.
Yeah, that's it. And then you're cutting, you can kind of draw your cutting angle now, or we can add that later, it doesn't really matter.
Is it this? What do you mean the cutting area?
So like this line here, where this it's really bright, that's just, all that does is just show us where we need to grind it down later for the actual blade, like cutting blade.
Maybe?
Yeah. It gives us an idea anyway. It's just because it's a two-dimensional picture,
Oh,
and you
you're
can
trying
see
to-
like this is the sharp. This is obviously the sharp cutting side, right? Because it's
Right.
beveled, sharp,
Right.
and you can't like this is too, probably.
I'm
You can't
sure.
see it. You can't see it here because of
Right.
the angle. It kind of swoops behind. So I like to just kind of draw this line too, so I know in the future where I need to grind a bevel to make it sharp. You
I
know?
think I follow, yeah.
Yeah, so you can draw. You don't have to draw the detail of the leather
Yeah.
because that'll be.
We can just kind of, I can just outline it. Right?
Yeah.
Just kind of go like this.
Yep. So that, all that does is really it tells us where to put it later on.
And then maybe this.
And this is a cool technique that you'll see. It's really fun to do it. We're going to use like really thin foam for the leather wrap,
Okay.
and it's kind of fun to do. And it looks just like leather when you're done.
That's cool.
Yeah, you can see on this one a lot better
Yeah.
where your lines are.
And then I will go back and draw the wonderful blade marks.
I think centered there? Does that look square to this circle here?
Yeah, actually. Yeah, it does. Looks pretty good.
It's just because your paper moves a little bit.
Oh.
There you go.
Oh, no.
I'm sure the camera can't see anything. like, like hunched over the TV.
Pay no attention to the man behind the mirror. Yeah, really. I'll just assume it does this. Alright, I'm not drawing the little box thing.
Yeah. Box Man. Remember Box Man?
I don't think I do.
From Smosh.
Oh, wow, okay.
Box
yeah.
Man. Alright. So that is patterning 101. And the reason that I do this is because it gives me a good reference image. And I don't waste ink printing.
Sure.
And if you were to take this picture and want to print it out full size, either it's a lot of computer stuff that I don't like doing. You can take this picture like into Inkscape or Photoshop and you can outline. I do it later when I do like an official pattern that I'll put online of my pattern.
Sure.
But the way I do that is I don't necessarily know exactly how to like scale something on the computer to paper.
Okay.
But I do know how to scale something on paper to the computer, if that makes sense. Because now I'll take these patterns,
Yeah.
since we drew these patterns to the paper size, I know now that half of this is 3 sheets of paper. So when I draw them, I'll draw in black on here,
Mm-hmm.
and then I will scan this page into the computer.
Oh.
And then when I scan it in the computer, then I will take this into Photoshop and I'll size it for the sheet of paper, which is 11 by 8.5.
Mm-hmm.
And so now you have a template, and then I will go through and I will use like the pen tool to like drag and click and outline the shape
Oh.
and add a line.
Yeah,
So
okay.
it's more pristine.
Yeah.
But to do the reverse of that, there's tons of videos on how to do it. I just don't like messing with it just because this to me is so much quicker and faster.
Sure.
And
And technically, like, freer, because you're just putting it
yeah,
down
and it's just it's literally just paper and pencil, which
You don't gotta have, like,
Yeah.
a computer.
Yeah.
You know, everybody has a TV pretty much.
Yep.
A smartphone.
Yep. And there's tons of ways to cast your phone to the TV. I have a Samsung phone and I use the Roku and I use Smart Share, and that's like
That's pretty
it's
common.
probably basic.
Yeah.
It's pretty basic. The other thing is that I know this picture that we got. I'm pretty sure it's either a replica or like an auction piece.
Yeah.
So I know that this shape, it doesn't get. Sometimes it gets really crazy, especially with like Marvel. You know, Marvel, every scene is different, every movie is different.
Right.
And there's a lot of people who like recreate stuff from movies and videos,
Right.
and their stuff is a little different than the movie, and I
Right.
like to be accurate. So I know that this curve is like 100% to the show.
Right.
And I mean, shape like this is not super crazy, but if I were to just draw this without tracing it, if I were to set paper on the ground and try to get the size and draw it,
Mm-hmm.
it wouldn't be correct. So I know our template is spot on.
Yeah.
to the show.
Yeah.
So that's why I like doing it. Too.
Yeah. I think this particular pattern with these bindings, I think is Lieutenant Worf's.
Okay.
So I don't
And
think
it's
it's.
got anytime you see
Yeah.
official insignia, it gives me hope that it's
Yeah.
a good copy. Because even like if it was like you know how like Mattel sometimes they do copies and it's
Mhm.
not
I do.
close at all, or it's sized down to cut on
like,
cost.
So Roddenberry.
Yeah.
So it's saying.
These
But
are
like you're
pictures.
saying, right? So this is somebody's custom,
Mhm.
which is this,
Mhm.
but made metal.
Yep. So that's
So it's like
an actual
that's-
weapon.
Right. But
But
as,
see how even his bindings are different.
yeah.
So that's what I try to always look for when I'm looking for stuff. Is like official.
Can you
Uh,
pinch it? Yeah.
Yeah.
So
So like official media, yeah, I can't pinch zoom on the web page. But yeah,
But even
what
this,
I'm
like this is 3D printed, so
Yep.
your point is made because it's
Yep.
like
yeah, so even like this, if you go here on, it's not loading, but so Etsy, I mean, so you see this?
yeah.
That's just somebody who made their own.
Yeah.
But you see how the curve isn't right? It's because they either designed it themselves or they are trying to do like a replica. And not that this is like bad,
No.
but it's not this.
Right.
So I like to make sure when you're
Yeah, you
doing
go to the source.
a recreation that you really know what. It is really nice.
Yeah, I mean it looks great,
It's cool.
but it isn't what is on the image.
I bet that's
This is more like you can
Yeah.
tell it's like
cord binding,
yeah.
not leather wrapped. Yeah, no, that's pretty, but I bet that's heavy too.
Yeah,
Add to cart. Yeah, I bet that's pretty heavy. But yeah, that's pretty. But see, even he's got the shape right, you know. But even this curve, I can kind of see that it's not. It kind of swoops in a little bit more, and it doesn't matter, because any Star Trek fan, you see this, oh, it's better.
Right.
But for me, a lot of things like
Well,
I spent so much time looking at pictures and looking at the detail of the movie to
right.
try to recreate it, that I can tell that like, oh, this is supposed to be a little closer to this. These two lines here.
Right.
You know what I mean? I pick up stupid small stuff.
And on the outside here, there was like a little raised.
Yeah, you're right.
So.
I did notice that. Yeah, you're right.
So.
It's right here. Yeah, there's like a little, I don't know if you can see on the video.
Yeah. Yeah.
There's like a little bump that kind of juts out.
Yep.
So it kind of separates the point of the blade to come out a little thicker for the handle. But yeah, no, you're right. Just little stuff like that. It just,
And right, like you said,
I see it.
at looking at it,
Yeah.
of course everybody's like, yeah, I know
Yeah.
what that is. But
So like if you were to go to a con or a show, it doesn't matter.
Right.
Nobody's gonna be like, you don't have the, you don't have the little divot over here.
right.
Nobody cares.
Right.
I care.
Right. No. Yeah.
I know it's there. I'm gonna see it. So yeah, I get a little crazy about that.
And then you have this picture here is like all the variants.
Yeah, right.
Throughout the,
And that's the thing
the
too.
franchise.
That's the thing is like everybody has a different one in the show, so it
Right.
doesn't. But if you're trying to make Worf's,
Worf's,
it's
right. Yeah.
very different than these.
Yeah.
Even the shaping of these, it seems like his is more kind of curved outward here.
Mhm.
Oh, that's cool. I like that logo on that one. That's kind of
But yeah, I think that's the Sword of Kalos.
That's cool. I like how this is all wrapped.
Yeah.
So the whole thing is the handle. Yeah, it's cool.
It's like the first Klingons, like the first ever Klingons.
That's cool.
Like ancient.
Yeah. I like the Klingons because they're like the orcs.
They are
of
very
Star
much like
Trek.
the orcs, yeah.
Like everything is hand forged from the ancestors.
Mhm.
Everything is all like
It's
metal.
true.
It's cool. All right, so that is patterning 101, and then we'll move on to some foam smithing. So now, but I just use my phone for it. Yeah, not that I put audio in videos a lot from videos,
Right,
especially
right.
because of copyright.
Are you going?
But you know, when you want to record a good Billie Eilish song that gets used for 10 seconds, and yeah, Billy wants that cash.
Give me that cash. Is that even Billy? It's whatever company.
Yeah,
you choose.
I think it was like MG. I think it was MGM again.
You can't have this.
No. Not for you. Not for you. Alright. And the nice thing about here is it's big enough for like us both to stand. I mean, this is too, but I built it big enough for them. Okay, so this will be the first time having the camera and actually using like recorded audio from me in the shop. I usually try not to because
That's true. It's usually sped up. And
yeah. Not today.
today.
Yeah. Spider does
What is
this.
this? Garbage.
Very nice. You
Uh-oh.
never get this. You never get this. do, 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 do. So now what I like to do is I like to tape your pattern together. And I got this new ruler that I bought. You know, Walmart, these are like $7, but if you go to the dollar store, they're $1. Hot tip for you. And I always use metal. You'll see later. I probably won't use a ruler to cut anything on this shape out of foam, but I like to use the metal ruler because it won't cut into the ruler.
Oh,
I've used this
that makes
before
sense.
for like cutting.
Oh,
You
wow.
see how it
yeah.
like cuts into the wood, and even this plastic guard, it's all been cut off. Just from a lot of times when I'm doing straight cuts, you know, and like it'll cut into it and it'll cut gouges out. So I have a wooden ruler down here, but I always use a nice metal ruler for that stuff. What I like to do is I like to tape it from the back
Okay.
so that you can draw on the front without it being weird on the gloss of the tape.
Okay.
So what I will do is I will put a line where the paper is, so I know, and then we'll cut this out,
Oh, I see.
and do the same thing on this one.
Yeah, I was gonna have a word.
Yeah, this one is fun. It's a good shape. So there's this. And again, it doesn't have to be perfect because we're going to correct it with a pen. Anyway,
Sure.
so there's that, and there's that.
Huh.
So,
Makes sense.
you want to cut this one?
Sure.
Would you like big one? Or would you like small one?
I guess I'll take the big one.
This actually came in that What the Foam that you bought. He put Skylar from
Oh.
What the Foam, or from Cosplay Apprentice. He sells What the Foam, and he puts a nice knife and blades in every box that you buy.
That's cool.
So I have 2 of these now. I only thought it was 1 because I haven't opened up that second box yet.
Oh,
I just did the other day. After my Cad Bane hat, I needed the second box. So it's pretty sweet that he puts that in.
and then this one's called
Box
It's a Dope Knife.
Yeah.
IDK.
Yeah, it's a dope knife. I like his logo too. His logo is like the sword.
Yeah, it's like a kind of like a triangle diamond with,
Yeah.
with a sword hilt and blade. Yeah.
Yeah, because he kind of goes by the aesthetic of like being in an apprentice to like a
Like he's at a blacksmith, yeah.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
he's
That makes sense.
cosplay apprentice. It's cool.
So just cut like that. Just
Yeah.
stick
Yep.
to it. Okay.
Yeah, just go for it. No time like the present. They're nice. You can see I keep my blades pretty sharp.
Yeah.
Ooh. Nice cut. Cool. So there's that. Well, actually, it's this one. You want to do this one too?
Yeah.
This one's a little tricky.
If I cut it wrong.
Yep. There's always tape.
Oh, okay. I was gonna say we don't do this
No,
here.
we're done.
Like,
You're out. You're out. You can see how much, like, now that this is a ton of work, you can see how much work just goes into, like, the planning process of doing something.
oh,
You know?
absolutely. Yeah. Because I remember when we were making, well, you were making the Enterprise phasers,
Mhm.
phase pistols.
Oh, yeah.
And we were sitting in there, like, cut, click, go. There we go. It didn't, you were like,
Yeah.
this is what you were doing
Yeah.
at your other,
Yeah.
That's your other
I know.
shop.
And so something like that is, I either like overly think about it or I just don't think about it. That one was kind of one that I wasn't really thinking about. It was right to the top of the gun. I was like, perfect.
Well, also this is like you're saying, it's a flat thing. It's beveled, right?
Yep.
But the phase thing's like open. There was multiple like.
Yeah, and I didn't even decide.
That?
I didn't even decide to make that phaser open until like we were done with it.
True.
I kind of saw the shape that the barrel was taking, and I decided then that like it would open with a hinge, and that actually made it easier to make because then I could just take the actual like handle part and just have that be a completely separate piece.
Yeah.
And the thing is like once you break down shapes, it's all about layering. So that handle piece, it looks complicated because it's got that round bevel on it, but it was just the gun handle shape, square cut, you know?
Yeah.
And then I added thicker foam to the back, and then you sand the corners, and it bevels it out naturally. And that was it. It's easy to look at something and be like, that is a complicated shape.
Well, yeah.
Right? So, what do we have around?
There's a helmet down there.
Like this. So like something like this.
Yeah, it looks intimidating.
It's a complicated shape, right?
Yeah.
But what I do in my head, the way my brain works, is I break down the shape. So like this handle, and just this handle piece, I would make this whole white piece one piece.
Okay, yeah, I can see that.
So it'd actually be two pieces, but what I mean is it's one piece together that's built. So basically the thickness of this handle is like two pieces of foam. So what I would do is I would cut the foam out to be this shape, exactly this shape.
Yep.
Now when this is cut out, now you can go through and you can use your grinder to bevel these edges. And basically that right there is the shape. The stuff in here would be like after the fact.
Yeah,
if
you
you were
just
trying to
cut it.
replicate that.
Yeah.
You would just kind of cut the foam out of the middle, and then just add, you know, these would just be literally
Oh,
just
like
thin
cotton
pieces
and
of
glue.
foam. Yeah, and you would just cut these shapes out, turn them sideways, and stick them in. This would be same kind of deal. This would be probably you'd make like a rectangle out of foam, two pieces again, sandwiched together, and then bevel the edges so it's round, and then glue it on top of the handle, and then that's one piece done.
Right.
You know, so
Yep.
this would be like one piece of foam. This is just a basic shape. You just get your pattern of that. This is a tube. I'd use like thin PVC pipe for that. This backing piece is a piece of foam. This wheel would be a little bit more complicated, but this would be like 3 or 4 pieces of foam glued together and cut out at that shape,
I see.
and then bevel a little bit. So even something complicated like this, you can break it down to, it's like drawing. When I was in school and they were teaching you drawing, I hated the idea of you draw a circle, then you draw an oval, and then you draw a square, and then you break like a face, like a human face, you break down into circles and squares and bevels. It's the same thing. Same thing as that.
Cool.
That's how I do it anyway.
No, hey, that makes sense.
Yeah. All right, so let's tape these
Okay.
together. I got a little bit of tape here. You can do that side. I'll do this side
I'm taping this.
if you want to. Is that where that goes? Yes, that is where that goes. I guess we can't really do it at the same time. Yeah, because I like to tape it from the, yes, let's
Other side,
I'll let you
right?
do
Yeah,
this first.
yeah.
Tape that way. Oops.
Ooh. It must be airtight. Otherwise, we'll never know.
Hey, Mr. Animal. Mr. Animal.
This is the sped up fast forward part, right?
Yeah.
No important information being said. So.
There is and there isn't.
Oh, there's something being said.
It's all important. Let's see. I'm going to put a that I can see it when I flip it. Because it would be easy to flip this and not have any idea, right, where that goes. So now I know that the top goes to this, and the bottom goes to that. Little tape. Speaking of, here we go. Perfect. Little bit of tape. Again, doesn't have to be perfect, which it's not. Like, yours is perfect, mine's all over the place.
I mean, you generally understand.
Make me look bad on my YouTube
No,
channel. Make me look like a fool. I looked like a fool last night. Okay. So now what I would do is I would take my Shapepe.
Sharp eye.
Shapepe. And I would just trace. I'll do,
And you'll hope that my tracing.
well, yeah, I mean, I'm still doing it by hand, so it's not going to be great either. But it just makes it, oh god, it makes it darker. Oh god. It makes it darker so you can kind of see where it has to go. And here's these wraps. I think this would just be straight through here. And just try to keep that shape going. Not get a little thick there. Shut baby. So I will put these lines like you said, so we know where the wrapping goes. The wrapping will naturally be thick, so just kind of cut this out of the same shape, and then the wrapping will add to the, like, you know what I mean? So like, it'll basically become this with the wrapping.
Oh, I see. Yep.
So like the wrapping will add that, but when we cut this out, it'll just be a thin piece.
I understand.
But I still like to add where they go, so you know.
So what's cool is, like, even though my tracing wasn't like atrocious, that it's cool to see that, like, you follow the general, even if the pencil line is a little off.
Yeah, you can kind of fix it.
You kind of like
And the
follow
other,
the natural curve.
yep. And the other thing too is when you cut this out of foam, again, you're going to be tracing your line with your knife.
Okay.
So it's going to change a little bit again, so you can kind of fix it then if you need to.
Okay.
And then if all else fails, if you get a wonky cut, which you probably will because I get wonky cuts all the time.
Sure.
The,
Also, I've never cut one before.
Exactly. So we'll get to that when I get to that. But just real quick, like, it's kind of hard to show from up and, well, I guess not. When you're cutting out your shape, the knife, it's really important that it stays like 100% parallel up and down when you're cutting, you know. So even like your curve, try to keep the blade so it's perpendicular. So it's like straight. If you angle it, you will get a wonky, you know, inner cut or an outer cut, which isn't. It's not the end of the world because I sand a lot of stuff.
Makes sense.
And then there are some times where you do want a 45 cut inward or a 45 cut outward.
Yeah, you're trying to like
because you're trying to make a bevel. This will just be a basic straight cut. Everything is a straight cut.
And then we'll go in.
And then we'll go in and we'll cut. We'll grind. We can cut a little bit at first. Sometimes what I like to do is I like to kind of trim off after we cut it out. Trim it off so that you're not turning all of that material into dust when you're sanding it. So then you can just kind of shape it. You're just shaping, you know.
Yeah, yeah.
With the
you're basically kind of just doing like what you would do with clay.
Yep.
Right? You're just trying to.
Yep. And foam sand's really easy. That's why everybody loves using it. It doesn't really take any time at all to even something this big to just put this bevel on it to make it cut. This will take a little bit because my plan is to use 2 pieces of foam, front and
Okay.
back, so
Okay.
it'll end up being about that thick.
Okay.
So to bring something that's this thick to a point in the middle, it's a lot of material this side, a lot of material that side. And it doesn't have to be a complete point either, especially if this is going to be like a wall display.
Sure.
If we just bevel one side even, so it looks like it goes to a peak, that's fine with me. It's up to you.
Yeah.
I know my stuff is all wall display, so I don't even.
Yeah. So I don't. It would just depend on how it looked. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? If it was like, that's kind of, you can tell.
Yeah.
Then,
And you can sand the other side down too, a little bit to make it look,
Yeah.
give it a little bit of depth, but it doesn't have to be perfect on both sides. Oops, I think this is more like this.
I'm sure. Is that messy?
So since this is like a display item,
Yeah.
the pattern here that we're working on, this side, this will be like the display side,
I see. Okay.
right? Because it'll go up on the wall this way,
Right.
unless, even if you turned it this way,
Either way,
it'll
yeah.
still be this side.
Yeah. Cool.
Yeah, so I think, I'll have to look at a couple pictures, but this cut line is here.
Yeah.
Oops. When I do like patterning on lines sometimes,
Mm-hmm.
I guess I do that more for cutting. Like if I'm gonna put a bevel cut, I'll try to do like a dash.
Oh,
So
okay.
you know that's like a bevel cut, or you know this is like a blade. But since you know it's a blade, you should know that this line here is the sharp side.
Sure.
Just add this. I think this kind of swoops in from here. Like that.
Probably.
Swoopy. And I don't know if this ends here or if this goes all the way. It probably doesn't. This is probably like a box cutter. Like anything here isn't really gonna cut, but once it gets forced into this curve, this is where you want your cut,
Yeah.
I think. And this is pointy, so that's gonna cut. That's gonna stab and cut. This is gonna stab and it's gonna cut all the way around here. It's
Right.
not really. You're not really gonna cut anything here. This is gonna pierce through, to here.
Yeah.
And if it pierces to this point, it's gonna start cutting here. As far as like a weapon
Yeah.
standpoint. So there. So you can see even with my Sharpie, this isn't.
Yeah.
It's not it's never gonna be perfect.
Well, it looks more together than the pencil, just because
yeah.
you find that you like connected the lines
Yep.
better.
And you can see you can see the overall shape.
Yeah.
So now what I like to do is it's a lot of template stuff.
Okay.
So let me move these out of the way. And let's see. You want to pull up that paper. Yeah, I put that there when I first built the thing and never used it because it was on the other. Oh, perfect. We got another roll up. Beautiful. So let's see, we can probably get one out of this side and get one out of that side. So let us, I'll have you cut this out. Fix this real quick too. Can't really see it. So again, you can use this, or you can use this.
I might use the new thing.
Okay.
It's
That
a
should
little
be
more
sharp, too.
precise.
Yep.
So you want me to cut the Sharpie?
Yeah.
You want me to cut the excess paper off?
Yes. So
Okay.
you can cut right on the Sharpie line,
Oh, okay.
or you can cut on the inside of the Sharpie line,
Not on the outside.
not on the outside.
Okay. good.
That is, especially when you're cutting foam. Because we'll trace this onto foam too, so you'll have the Sharpie line.
Mhm.
And now if you were to trace, let's see if I can show you. So like if you had, say you were doing this,
Okay.
say like this square piece was your template. Now you put this on, this is a piece of foam.
Mm-hmm.
And now you use your Sharpie. I use pen on foam because Sharpie kind of, you don't really see it. But now, say you use a Sharpie. Alright, so that's your pattern. So you take this off, here's your foam. And now if you cut on the outside of this, you're adding a centimeter,
Yeah.
2 centimeters.
Yeah, I see.
So that's not a lot, but if you're trying to line seams up perfectly, especially if you're doing like a helmet where you want your seams to like match at the bottom, like perfectly.
Right, right.
Even this amount here will kind of do this, or it'll kind of do this by the time you get it to the end. So cut on the inside because that's where your template is. Your template was on the inside. So this inside cut is a perfect representation of your trace template. But
Cool.
with this, you can cut on the Sharpie or you can cut on the inside. It doesn't matter.
Okay.
That's something that I've learned because I didn't really pay attention to that. And you do see that come back to bite you sometimes. I gotta get a microwave down here for my coffee. And a coffee machine. And a fridge for creamer.
I was trying to think of something else.
You can put a 6-pack of soda.
Oh, God. You're gonna have so much work to do for you.
Now you're gonna have all the work today.
I'm gonna have.
I'm not touching a thing. From this point on, you're alone, bucko.
Oh.
This is kind of a good like starter piece, honestly.
Yeah, it's kind of simple. Just the shape is kind of complex.
It's flat, you know. It doesn't have a whole lot of detail.
Yeah, my first thing is a Star Trek diorama. Like, let me begin. Yeah, I know.
Yeah, that would be like crash course.
I'd fail immediately. You'd be like, okay, the first thing you do is like, I can't.
Yeah. Okay, now we're gonna open up Tinkercad and we're gonna start 3D modeling. I don't know who would be teaching us that because even I don't know how to do that. I see all these like amazing. I see all these amazing like 3D like renders that people have done.
Yeah.
Not even people that like work for game companies or like movie companies. They just like are such passionate fans that they're just like, oh yeah, I made this in Blender. Like, what? I'm gonna put the Burning Hill theme over you, cutting.
Yep.
It's easy to think that you're pressing down too hard when you're cutting, but you're probably not, you know.
Clearly cool,
Cut it
cool, cool,
again.
cool.
You can use scissors too if you want.
No, this is probably.
I just always use the razor blade because that's what I'm always using for every step, so it's easier for me. But no, you can totally use a pair of scissors. Cut out.
Yeah, this is the one thing I'm exceptionally bad at is
Cutting.
cutting and and tracing. It's like I'm notoriously bad at it because my eyeball can't. My hand and my eyeball don't work.
You're focusing more on like where you are than where you're trying to go.
Yep. going to be sped up, so it's going to look real good.
The one thing I try to do is I don't, like you're doing, cutting away
Oh,
from you. I don't try to do that.
you try to do this way?
Yeah, I do.
Oh, okay.
I don't know if that would help you or not.
I was
So then your eye can see like where the blade is, and you can stay on the line a little bit more, and you can put more pressure because you're cutting. I know they tell you not to cut towards yourself,
Yeah, that's what I
but it's a little different when you're on a flat surface and you're not like, you know,
slicing.
you're not doing this to your stomach. You're-
No. No. Oh, come on. Yes, yes.
1 corner done. 2.5 hours. later.
Seriously.
No, it's not. So like, I'll show you on this piece here.
Yeah.
Like I would start like here. Don't worry about like the curve really.
Okay.
Just get the blade started, and then you can kind of see like I'm looking right here, and I
Okay.
can see like the mark and where the blade is, and it's a lot easier for me to do like a long, almost like don't even think about it. You know what I mean? Like I'm not paying attention to each little. You know, I'm just like here. I know the line. I can see the line is here,
Okay.
and I'm just not trying to be crazy concerned about it. You know what I mean?
Okay. Paper butler. I've gone to the battle bladder.
There, my cute. Don't think it. Don't say it. Use the force. Run, French. Turns out this guy did a big 3D print of the Ghostbusters logo.
Wow. That's pretty wild.
That's pretty cute. That's that Whitey's guy that you showed me.
Which guy is that?
He's the guy that you showed me that was doing the door.
The bearded guy with
Yeah.
the motion one?
Yeah.
Yes, okay. He also likes ghosts?
Mm-hmm. Everybody does. You basic. Beautiful.
I didn't think about it.
Don't think it, don't say it. Hey, my video posted. right on time too, actually. Posted an hour ago, right at noon. It was literally rendering to YouTube when you got here. Beautiful. Perfect.
So now I got these up?
Yes. Or we can do that. We can do that after.
Okay.
It actually might make it easier to trace without it. I think we're still recording. That's the thing, I basically go by faith.
I don't know.
There's gotta be a way that I can cast that to the TV so I can like see what it's in. Same way I do it upstairs, but I just haven't tried that. Alright, so now stop crinkling and making a bunch of noise on first. Use this. Shut
Craft paper. All right. So this is what they used to call butcher paper.
Oh,
This is literally the paper that they would, when you would go to like a butcher, they would wrap your meat in. But now I think it's just called wrapping paper or something. Craft wrapping paper. After they stopped using it for like butchers, they would wrap your like boxes in it to like ship.
oh yeah.
But you can't do that anymore because they snag and it'll rip and then your shipping label will go off. At least that's what I've been told.
Yeah. I mean,
But I use it for, I will put my foam on here and I'll glue on it so I don't worry about like where the glue is going. I can
Gotcha.
just brush on top of it. I'll use it for like painting. I don't care, it's basically just a cheap way to protect your surface and stuff. And I don't worry about it too much. But you can also use it for templates because it's a thicker, toothier paper,
Yeah.
instead of just this cheap copy.